let's come to the modern Gambia now. Something which is very important to business economy, right? Um, you also mentioned this, which I'm very, very interested in, which when you stated it, I was very, very keen. So you said at the Stake in the Nation forum, by the way, anybody who is watching this interview and you haven't gone to watch Uncle Bax Touray's Stake in the Nation forum statement and you are missing, go and watch it. Basically, one of the things which you said is we have a stock exchange, but it is not functional. I'm very interested in this because I'm sure, I don't know if you've seen my viral interview or press conference where I was talking to the central bank governor and asking him about the stock exchange market. Perhaps you can expand a little bit on this. What did you mean by that the stock exchange is not functional? What's your view?
Okay, yes, I saw your interview with the governor. It was useful, it was interesting.
He actually mentioned the GCCI in his response.
Yeah, he mentioned GCCI and he also mentioned my name. And you know, he's a good friend and a good colleague. And he's doing his best to take the country where we want it to be in terms of monetary policy. And as far as the stock exchange is concerned, I'll give you the genesis. When we started the economic recovery program, Sadauda said something very profound. When we went to him and presented the program, it was, you have to streamline the civil service. You have to liberalize the economy. You have to, you know, flow the fallacy. You have to look at all these structural adjustment measures. And he listened to us very carefully. And, you know, these were, you know, highly, you know, challenged and highly educated, highly experienced people that were in the task force. I had just come back home, and I think I was barely less, I was, you know, maybe younger than you are now, maybe 35, 36. So I was the youngest economist in the room. And when they presented this program to him, he said, you want me to do all of these things? And everybody was quiet. And then he listened attentively. You could hear a pin drop. Then he said, well, you call this program Structural Adjustment Program? And they said, yes. He said, well, we either adjust or we bust. But then he said something very clearly. They gave him the list of enterprises that were to be, you know, divested. At the time, you had the National Trading Corporation. You had Wing Afrique, that was in tourism. You had the Livestock Marketing Board. Then it was divided into three categories. Those that were amenable to private sector operations. The second one were joint ventures. At the time, there was a joint venture with British Airways on Gambia Airways, and we were doing flights to Banjul. Okay? Then we said there are certain companies that have what is called the commanding heights of the economy, and those should always remain in government hands. And those were classified as GUC or NAWEC, GPA, Social Security, which government is a trustee, and GPMB. That those should remain in government hands because they had commanding heights of the economy. And all the others should be divested. And he then said something very profound. He said, it is not the business of government to be in business. Very, very profound. So at that time, we established a task force for both the University of the Gambia. We established a task force for radio and television, GRTS, and we established a task force for the stock exchange. And on the stock exchange, we had a collaboration with the Commonwealth Secretariat. They financed the study. And we linked up with the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And by Malewada was identified and did his training, master's training, to operate the stock exchange. And we were going to have technical assistance from Jamaica. The Jamaican guy was identified and was on the way coming to Banjul to establish the stock exchange in 1994. That's when the coup happened. And he died a natural death.
Oh.
Fast forward when Dominic Mendy was Minister of Finance.
Finance, yes.
He also initiated something with the Canadians, and a study was done. And they said Gambia was too small for a stock exchange. The study was not viable. And my take on that time was, in West Africa, the only country that doesn't have a stock exchange is the Gambia. Because all the Francophone countries are affiliated to the Bourse in Cote d'Ivoire. Sierra Leone has a stock exchange now. Ghana has a stock exchange. Fast forward when Bax Touray was Minister of Finance, and Morsise, who was Chief of Staff, now Minister of Trade.
The current one?
Current one. Now Minister of Trade, was Permanent Secretary Finance. Bax Touray established a task force, including Central Bank. Mr. Jaju of blessed memory was representing Central Bank. Morsise was the chairman. I was a member from the private sector. Aliou Seka was representing the GCCI. And we went on a study tour to Ghana. And we were well received by the Ghanaians. And they told us that they are able, this was in 2015, and they are ready to assist in any way possible. And even on the Securities Exchange and the Stock Exchange. And they were able to use their computer systems on a redundancy basis without cost. We came back, submitted the report. Nothing happened for a very long time, to the extent that, the GCCI and others said, if we are just talking the talk, they are not interested. So it moved forward, and then finance took it up again and established a relationship with Nigeria, and went to Nigeria on another study tour, and the Nigerians were very welcoming and came to the Gambia. And that was the time that Boaseidi was appointed governor, and Idi Mas Job was president of the chamber. Which he mentioned. Yes. So the two of them took it as a project and really did everything possible to operate, to make sure that the stock exchange happened. And it was launched. It was officially launched 2 years ago.
Yes.
At the Senegal, at the Kairaba Conference Center. And the Minister of Finance was there, Vice President did the launching, the Nigerians came. So right now, as I understand it, they have the wherewithal. But they are now basically babysitting the stock exchange, the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as the registry. Now, ideally, and this was established by the governor himself, he said it directly, that the stock exchange does not belong to the central bank.
And he said it in this, yes.
The Securities and Exchange Commission in bigger countries is a standalone commission. The registry likewise. So after 2 years now, it is time to win off the stock exchange, establish a task force, which they have done. They have established a stock exchange company. So it's a question of how soon will it be operationalized. Now, what is also important to note, that, the stock exchange has to have activity. All the banks in this country are listed on stock exchanges outside of the Gambia. Zenith Bank, GT Bank, Access Bank, EcoBank. You go to Nigeria, you can buy their shares. The only cross-border listing we've ever had was Trust Bank on the Ghana Stock Exchange. And I was invited then as president of the chamber when Panjai was the MD of Trust Bank, and Ken Ofori-Atta was the chairman. We went to Nigeria, to Ghana, and we launched the stock exchange, the Trust Bank Stock Exchange in Ghana. And it was doing quite well. It has been delisted now. So what I'm saying is that when the reform was being done, deliberately and consciously, NAWEC was established as a limited liability company. Ferry Services, limited liability company. Gamtel, limited liability company. Gamcell, limited liability company. National Food Processing, or GPMB, or GGC, limited liability company. What does that do? It says every time you want to raise financing, you go to the stock exchange and you buy shares in those establishments. So government does not have to borrow to finance those enterprises. And that is why Trust Bank is now one of the biggest banks as the most sustainable. Because when we were doing Trust Bank, it was forced from GCDB to Meridian and then to Trust Bank. So Trust Bank today has the biggest portfolio of individual Gambians who are shareholders, including the staff. All the staff, or most of the staff of Trust Bank, own shares in Trust Bank. The public owns shares in Trust Bank. The Social Security owns shares in Trust Bank. GPA owns shares in Trust Bank. So what does that do? When you own shares in your own company, what does that do? You make sure that you are efficient, and you make sure that you do what you have to do to ensure that you get dividends.
Indeed.
So if you have a stock exchange, you don't need to bring in outsiders to partake of the ownership of some of these companies. All you do is float shares and allow Gambians to buy it. Right. Trust Bank was floated, and the staff were buying the shares at $3, and the public was buying at $6. So today, those shares are worth far more than what they bought them for, and they have capital appreciation, and they also have dividends.
I was actually looking forward to see, when they say stock exchange, you see people are shouting everywhere, and then there's a building somewhere where there are screens of share prices, and it's a very busy business activity is happening, shares are going and coming. Do we have a space that we're going to be able to do that, or is that not part of it when we talk about Gambia Stock Exchange? Because for me, I'm still waiting for Central Bank to say, media, come, this is where the stock exchange place is going to be. It's going to be very, very busy. At the moment, we are starting, it's not so busy, but eventually it's going. Am I having the wrong expectation?
No, you are not having the wrong expectation at all. In fact, one of the landmark, iconic projects in every country is a stock exchange. If you go to New York is New York because of the stock exchange. If you go to London, London is London because of the London Stock Exchange. In fact, I have a photograph of the Minister of Finance. He was in London, and he went to the London Stock Exchange. And most of the time, it's a very iconic building because it's a status symbol for wealth creation. So what we are expecting the government to do, without prejudice, I don't know what their plans are, but is to look at a very iconic building that will house, I know they have already decided that they are going to host, they have already passed the legislation for a Gambia Development Bank, which is long overdue. The stock exchange needs to be operationalized. The Securities and Exchange Commission needs to be operationalized. Because what happens is, in the stock exchange, you need to ring a bell. Now, when you have a new company, which is called an IPO, initial public offering, they will come in and say, Askanwi is going to launch Askanwi Media, the stock exchange. So you'll come with your board and you'll ring the bell, and they say the opening price is so much, and you will bid.
Yes.
So that's the status
exactly
of a stock exchange.
Yes.
And then once you go into the trading is now more electronic. So you can sit in your office and trade, and also your share leverage.
Yes.
But it's a status symbol that in this nation has come of age.
Yeah, and then anybody with savings, like you said, you can sit in your office. You know what? I'm having this 10,000 or 20,000, and I want to invest it in this company. Maybe I don't need to use the money for a few months or 1 year. I will put it invested in there and see what I can yield. Yes.
And that is the idea. With the builders, which is, Gambian businesses under the age of 45. They were received by the president, which was a very good initiative.
Yes.
And I think the president is Dr. Ismail Abaji. And these people have come, you're all young, or most of them were in the diaspora, some of them were here, they are in business, they're creating a lot of employment, a lot of possibilities. So they came up together as a group and met the president. And those people, the challenge they have, the challenge that every business in Gambia has is you have to start somewhere. When you start, like Askanwi Media, you go to the bank, they tell you, sorry, we cannot finance startups. But today, Mr. Taylor, the company that has disrupted the whole of the Gambia is Wave. And Wave was a startup. It was financed by the IFC as a startup with $100 million. And they have repaid that amount. The biggest company in the world today is Nibidia. Nibidia was a startup. It did not exist 5 years ago. Today is bigger than all the companies in the world. I can give you the list.
Yes.
So startups are critical to an economy. I'm happy that some young people have come. They have started what they call the Gambia Startup Chamber of Commerce, which is welcome. But our banks do not have the appetite for startups. And it is startups that move the country, because startups are the innovators, they are the disruptors, and they change the landscape. So if you don't encourage startups, you will be left out in the cold. So it is very important for startups to happen. And then equity capital is the best way to start businesses. Because what you don't want, you were saying now, I have an idea. Who is going to buy into my idea? Askanwi Media wants to go live. They want to expand. They cannot expand because they don't have access to finances. So what do they depend on? They depend on friends and family to maybe assist. But you can only go so far. So instead of moving at a supersonic speed, you are moving at a snail pace. Because you want to evolve into a full-fledged, media conglomerate.
Indeed.
And some people will have your vision. I believe in Yusuf Taylor. I'm ready to invest. But how do I invest? I don't give him the money to put in his pocket. I need to have systems of checks and balances. So Yusuf Taylor goes and establishes an IPO. I buy into the IPO. He is duty bound every 3 months to give me his statement of accounts as a collective. And then I can say, well, you are going on the right direction, or you are going on the right direction. And if the shares appreciate, I have the opportunity to also exit and sell to a third party. But here we don't have that opportunity. And that is why the stock exchange is very, very critical. Central Bank has done a fantastic job of making this happen. The Chamber of Commerce has done a fantastic job of making sure that we have brought the stock exchange to a level of fruition. Now, it is now for us to harvest that fruit and make it operational as soon as possible.